Live from the Talking Joe studios.
It's Talking Joe with Chief and Ben. Hey, it's the Chief. I'm joined by my buddy.
It's me, it's Ben. I'm back from the colonies.
Holy Moses, I thought you were long gone.
Yeah, I struggled to get back. I've been away, I've been on a trip, I've been to New York City.
Wowzers.
I've been to Chicago, the Windy City.
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing, Chicago is cold.
Jeepers.
Coldest place I've ever been.
This is work related?
Yeah, it's work related, and my brother lives in Chicago now, so...
Ah, the GAV.
Yeah, so I had work that took me to New York, and then I thought, it's only a 2-hour hop to Chicago. So got on a plane and went and spent a few days with him in Chicago. -20 out there.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's 20 degrees, so that's Celsius. That is seriously cold.
Yeah. I mean, that is, yeah.
I've been snowboarding. I've been, to the Alps and stuff. I have never, ever experienced cold like that. Basically, if you have skin out,
yep,
that's a problem.
It's coming off, or it's sticking to something.
Yeah, I went to the gym, had a shower, walked outside, and I was like, whoa, something's happening to my head. What's going on? And my hair froze instantly.
Ouch.
It was like I had a Lego head on. It was just, it's a different way of life out there, Chief, with this cold.
How's Gav coping out there?
Oh, he loves it. It's the tale of two kind of seasons there. You dig in for the winter.
Yep.
You stock up, but then on the flip side, they have, like raging hot summers. So
yeah. Now Gav was never as into G.I. Joe as us, so he was kind of in between age-wise. He was in between us, wasn't he? And he was obviously hardcore Star Wars, of which I was as well. And then I went over into G.I. Joe, but he never made that bridge, really, did he?
Well, the thing is, interestingly enough, he was into the comics, because when we borrowed a stack off of you, he was the one that was reading them. It wasn't me.
Right.
So he was more into that than obviously like the toys and stuff.
Yeah.
But he was a fan for sure.
Oh, good.
So yeah, it was good.
Is he listening to the pod?
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Good stuff. Hi, Gav. How you doing? And family?
What have you been up to anyway, whilst I've been away?
So I have purchased and played some Super Smash Brothers Melee. No, not Melee. Super Smash Brothers on the Wii U. Now,
is that new?
No. That's old.
Sorry, of course, Wii U.
Yeah, not the Switch. I bought the Wii U as I think I'm one of only 5 people who bought that machine.
No, you are one of 5.
Great console. I really dig it. And bought this Smash Bros. Melee. Oh, not Melee was the one before. I think it's just called Super Smash Brothers. And you can play up to 8 people because you can get this GameCube adapter.
Do you mean Melee?
What, when I say Melee?
Oh, okay, yeah. You mean like a scrap, yeah?
Yeah.
Like a ruckus?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
But you can plug in GameCube controllers, so you don't have to have those big Wii U pad things, and you can play up to 8 players on one screen. Yeah,
they didn't sort of care about the aesthetics when they were designing those things, did they?
No, so this is a couple of years old, this game, and I played my mate, Sam, at the weekend. He came round, we played a bit of Guitar Hero, and a bit of this Super Smash Brothers, and it's the epitome of the one more go syndrome. It's 2-minute battles.
Right.
It was 4 of us, me, him, two AI computer-controlled characters, and it's literally like, all right, we got 20 minutes. Let's have a 20-minute go. All right, fine. So we play a few games, and then that 20 minutes turned into like an hour and a half.
Wow.
It's just one more go.
And it's a good game.
Yeah, it's really good. So I'm hoping to get a little retro gaming session hooked up with a few other buddies, and we're going to play 4 players. If we can get 6, we'll do 6.
That sounds great.
But I also am playing this tomorrow, in fact, going round to mate's house. And
what are you playing?
We are playing some board. It's an all-day board game session.
Right.
And we are playing this new game. It's called Nemesis, and it is effectively Aliens. you are in all but the
That hasn't got the IP.
in all but the license. So basically, I watched a video last night on how to play, and a board is massive. It's like a cutout of the ship.
Oh, cool.
And it's a semi-cooperative game. So what that means is there is a full co-op game option, but it's semi-cooperative. So you're all working towards surviving, but each player's got a secret hidden agenda. So it might be like you're working for the company, the corporation, and you've got to get an egg and secretly get it back to Earth or whatever.
Okay.
Or it might be player 4 has wronged you in the past, so you've got to somehow sabotage player 4 and make sure player 4 doesn't survive to the end.
Damn that player 4.
Things like that. So
he's wronged you.
So it's got some. It looks really, really good fun. It looks really good fun.
Oh, that's cool, dude. Talking about retro gaming, I went to the most insane bar in Chicago called Beercade, and it's if I could design a bar in my head, this was it realized. It was incredible. Retro bar, loads of arcade. All the arcade machines were put on free play. Yes. So you could just go crazy. And me and my bro were playing Super Off-Road. The cabinet
I love it.
with the 4 wheels.
Yeah.
And they've got the wheels. Do you remember? They've got no lock on them. So you just spin them.
Yeah.
And then we played that for like an hour. And, collecting the nitros, kitting out your 4x4s. We played a big session on Street Fighter 2. Oh, so good.
Nice.
That is my ideal night out now. Beer and just retro arcade games. It's the perfect kind of blend.
Yep. Perfect.
Yeah, really cool.
Well, I want to do some shout-outs. Stop the presses. Hold everything.
Consider them stopped.
Get the awards out. We got emails.
Oh, emails!
We got emails.
Someone's taken the time.
We had 2 emails, and they actually came in within a fairly shortish space, a gap between them. So they kind of piggybacked off each other. First one came from Doug Bertrand from Wisconsin. Shame about those Green Bay Packers. Hey, Doug, not doing too well. But although the Milwaukee Bucks could be saving your Wisconsin season. But anyway, Doug wrote in to let us know that he is loving the podcast. He listens to it with his son, his 9-year-old boy. They're enjoying it, and I have got to apologise to Doug. I do got to apologise because Doug has found his love again for comics and G.I. Joe toys, and the man has gone out and spent a cash load of money.
Oh, we fueled it, have we?
But we fueled the frenzy. So happy to have you with us.
The klaxon ringing at the bank.
Yeah, that's it. And another shout out to Eric Harper. He's been with us from the beginning. Hillbilly Harper, he goes by. He's comments long time listener,
first time emailer.
That's it. Big on comments a lot on the Insta. Just basically giving us a shout out saying we're doing a good job. So thanks a lot for that, Eric. Appreciate the kind words.
Very kind.
We are going to be talking about some G.I. Joe comics here, issues 28 to 30. But before we do that, we've got to go inside Chief's mind. Whoa!
God, it's been a while since I've been in here. Yeah, it's dark, it's cold.
It's a bad place to be. How do you think I feel?
Oh, you've got to live in there.
Yes. This one is... It just bugs me. As you will know, and you said it's quite big in the States now. The soccer, football, if you will.
Yeah, EPL, English Premier League.
I still hear people, and I'm talking pundits on TV, and I'm talking
shit.
I'm talking managers who call this the Premiership.
It grinds my gears.
Oh, it gets you as well. Now, it was called the Premiership when it came along back in the 90s.
Only for 2 years, wasn't it?
No, it was more than 2 years. But I'm saying it has been name changed from the Premiership to the Premier League at least 12 years ago.
Oh, Chief, way more than 12, I think.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I'm tempted to go on Wikipedia, but I can't be bothered right now. But
no one can.
But I'm saying people, and I'm saying Joe Public does it, but what grinds my gears even more is these people in football, the people on the TV, and the managers and the players. Oh, yeah, it was a good week in the Premiership this week. What?
Yeah. Well,
I know when they say that, I
what
say,
league's that? It's not...
you must be referring to the Rugby Union Premiership. That's what I must be referring to. They must be referring to that, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Well, no one in the States is ever going to make that mistake.
No, because it's all about three-letter
they just say EPL.
Yeah.
Which I'm down with. Hey, it's so awesome out there. When I was doing some filming for Instagram, and we were hanging out with these kids, a couple of 18-year-olds, and they were more aware that Arsenal were playing Chelsea than I was, and they were looking at the scores, and they were like, "Oh, it's this go," and I was like, "This is incredible." I think they're way more into the EPL than they are their own league. I don't know what their one's called.
The MLS.
So with LA Galaxy. They can't really get on board with that, but they just love the EPL.
Yeah.
It's all good, man.
Yeah.
So that grinds your gears. Okay, fair enough. It grinds mine.
Yeah. Quick bit, right, we are going to obviously get into the issues. One quick bit of exciting news. Stay tuned to the end of the episode where we have some more breaking news about next week's show, which is very exciting, and we'll reveal that at the end of this show.
Yeah, but you've got to get through this show first.
You've got to listen to the end.
We've dangled a big juicy carrot.
You know it. I know there's some bastards out there who just skip to the end, but listen to the middle. Listen to the middle. It's all good,
couple
juicy
of things.
stuff. Go.
Whilst we've got like 1 foot in your mind still.
Yeah.
I was going to go back. See, this is the 10th episode.
You know
that?
Yeah.
So it's a little anniversary, isn't it?
Yes.
But I want to go through all 10 of your in your minds because I'm pretty sure Emma does every single one of those things. And I was thinking, crikey, if Chief's coming down to my house, it's just going to be absolutely
carnage,
torturous. The big things that stick out, maybe not so much with the Premier League thing, actually.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything else you've ever said, she does.
Right.
The H... mashing the
buttons,
the slamming doors, pulling doors too. She was laughing. She was like, "I do all of these things."
She's fortunate. She's fortunate that I like her, so she gets a pass.
To be honest with you, I can't remember some of the early ones that were grinding your gears. Actually, but
no, we'll dig them out.
Yeah,
we'll dig them
out. I think I might next episode. I'll go through and see which ones I can tick off.
Cool.
The other thing I wanted to say was I wanted to bring up when we attempted this task previously, once in our lives, to read the Marvel G.I. Joe run. Do you remember when that was? I was living in Australia circa 2000, not 2006, 2006.
2006? 2006.
2006.
26.
Yeah, and we attempted to do this and we didn't get very far. I was downloading them like in PDF format.
Yep.
And we were just going to have a shared Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, and it wasn't for the purpose of broadcasting or anything. It was just personal between me and you.
Didn't even know what a podcast was back then.
Yeah.
But we have attempted to do this before. I think you actually carried on and kind of did a... Did you write a review for each one?
I had a blog. I had a Tumblr account. I had a Tumblr account. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am gonna. Yes.
I remember reading.
I'm gonna dig that out. I'm gonna dig out that account and
reading what you thought about Silent Interlude. I remember reading that. You did like a blog about it.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know if that was the same time. If that was that long ago.
Yeah.
Did you make it through all of them? So you've got a written review for each issue.
I'm gonna dig it out, and that'll date it, that'll timestamp it for when we were trying, and I'll see how far I got, and we'll report back next week.
Yeah. Right. Let's get into these issues.
Where we left it last episode was the Snake Eyes origin. So the big reveal was that Storm Shadow was not the killer of the Hardmaster. He reveals to Snake Eyes that he witnessed a assassin escaping on a Cobra chopper.
Yeah.
Storm Shadow then escapes from the subway. The fight was done with Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes is discovered, by Scarlet. Mute.
So there's some other chump out there that's pretty handy with a bow.
Assuming we believe Storm Shadow. And also the other point was the Joes had gone to the Florida Everglades to to find that for the Cobra base, because they were tracking the tracking symbol in the hilt of Storm Shadow's sword. They found Zartan and some big Cobra boys were there, Cobra Commander, Destro, Baroness, etc. Big schmozzle in the swampland, of which at the end the Joes escaped on like a little rubber dinghy. And that's where we pick up issue 28.
Yeah. Do you want to break it down?
What you're saying for the cover of this one, you've got the... it's by Mike Zeck. You've got the tank, the Mobot tank, the Mobat tank, and
Is that Rattler?
A Rattler is coming in on the attack.
Yeah, not much of a fan of this one, of the cover. It's average. It's all right, isn't it?
Yeah. I quite like the perspective a little bit, but this issue we're clocking in now is October 1984. It is script by Larry Hama, pencils by Marie Severin. This is the only issue of G.I. Joe she draws. I had a quick look on Wikipedia because I wasn't familiar with the name. She actually unfortunately passed away last August. But her credits, she's got a lot of Marvel credits as a penciler, mainly as a colorist and inker.
I really like the art.
But the art in this issue, it could... I mean, I think those Larry Hama 26 was probably my peak, but this is probably the second best art I've seen in a G.I. Joe issue so far.
I would 100% agree with that.
Andy Masinski's on inks, Rick Parker's on lettering, and George Roussos is on colouring. But I was, just a great issue.
Yeah, I absolutely love this issue.
Yep.
Seriously cool. I mean, the opening page with Junkyard and Mutt.
Yep.
What is this guy, the world's worst dog trainer? He's got absolutely no control over his mutt.
Licking his face. So they're escaping on this raft.
That pooch
They've
is
signalled
out of control.
They've signalled the USS Jane, and there's comedy on that very first page. And this issue is, this is, if you break it down, there's so much comedy and so much humour in this issue, and it's just everything works for me.
There is some great comedy. Let me tell you my favourite panel. It's very subtle. It's the one where it cuts to Firefly and Cobra Commander in Zartan's fortress.
Yep.
And it's just like Firefly's got his hands like held behind his back, and Cobra Commander is sitting so cash, and they're just sort of like they're like, what is all these buttons? Like, they're just so kind of casual, because you got they know that G.I. Joe are coming, but they're just so chilled, and they're looking at this fake control panel. It's just really, really funny.
Yeah.
But you've got you've got great action in this issue as well. Incredible action. I love all the stuff with the Rattler formations flying.
Yeah. Because
really cool.
Because the Joes, once they've got back to the USS Jane, Duke's there, isn't he? And he's like, right, we're gonna tool up some dragonflies. We're going to launch the Whale, which is the hovercraft, and we're going on full. We've done a little recon. We found something, so now let's send in the heavy artillery. And there's a great bit as well where there's a train, and there's a couple of local police dudes, some sheriff and his deputy. And again,
how much do you like these guys?
I love them because it's that Laurel and Hardy mould. Now, it's obviously not the same guys that were back in those issues in Sierra Gordo, where we saw a similar Laurel and Hardy likenesses back in issues 12 or 13, whatever it is. But these guys it just reminded me of Smokey and the Bandit. Yeah,
so it reminds you of Smokey and the Bandit and Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, the Sheriff J.T. Pepper.
Yeah. J.W. Pepper, whatever his name is.
Yeah, and you can't have that guy without the kind of junior cousin kind of, I've got you the job, but you're an absolute
buffoon.
Goon.
Yeah. There's an amazing...
That Stoog he's got. He's always got the Stoog.
There's an amazing panel.
Great dialogue.
Amazing little bit where they're sat at a railroad crossing, and this train's coming across, and suddenly at the side of this train carriage busts the G.I. Joe tank, and Breaker just launches himself off the top of the train onto the... He's like, we got to get out here, Steeler, let's go. So they just bust out the side of this train carriage, and these guys are just left gobsmacked, these couple of coppers. And there's a great scene later on as well where they're driving and they got half their door panels which have been ripped off.
Yes, it's straight out of Smoking the Bandit.
It's amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, really cool. I didn't even mind in this issue the robot bit. I thought that was actually quite funny.
Yeah, because they're left now, aren't they? Because actually Zartan and the Dreadnoks have bugged out because they've sensed on the radar that this heavy artillery, the Dragonfly and the Whale are coming in. They're like, we don't want any part of this. We're bugging out. So they've left Cobra Commander and Firefly in his shack, and like you say, they rip off these panels of the wall, and it turns out it looks like a video game. It's a joystick and some controls.
And I thought we were going to get introduced to BATs initially.
Yes. The
Battle Android Troopers.
Yeah.
But these guys were kind of a little bit more comical than that, the way they had those radio antennas.
They got antennas on their head. Basically, Zartan's hidden a robot Cobra army in his swampland.
And some hiss tanks.
They just come surfacing out of the water.
Cobra Commander's so excited. He's like, hey, move over.
Yeah,
He's
I'm
like,
taking control.
I am the commander after all.
Yeah.
Firefly's like, you've wasted half our army already.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I really enjoyed the...
so what's happening? Destro and Baroness and Wild Weasel have bugged out, haven't they, as well? They've managed to find some rattlers.
Yes, but Baroness also breaks formation and goes off.
She goes back to Springfield to set up...
Major Blood.
No, she goes back to set up... she says she's going back to get everything set up for the Cobra Commander's successful return to Springfield.
Yeah,
she says we're going to break out the high school marching band and all this kind of stuff. And then Destro and Wild Weasel each take a rattler to go back to pick up Cobra Commander and Firefly from the swamp.
Yeah, and that's where there is some badass action. The aerial kind of land-based stuff is so good. They are peppering the Joes with those rattlers, and some of them are taking it like. Who takes it?
Well, they all get. I think Deep Six.
They all get hit.
They all get hit. Cutter, and
then Roadblock just lifts up the gun, and I was like, "Oh, he's going to use it." And no, he just uses his back as a mount.
Yeah, because Deep Six's gun turret is jammed. His gun's
Can
operational.
You imagine?
I think Roadblock's out of ammo or something like that, or his turret's jammed. But Deep Six's gun's operational, but he can't raise it to get the angle to shoot the rattler. So it's just perfectly drawn and perfectly scripted. He just wrenches it off, puts it on his back. He goes, now you got your angle, shoot down that rattler.
And there's and Destro just like gets shot to shit in the rattler and just pulls the ejector seat and off he goes.
And he gets pinged. There's a great panel where Destro gets pinged by a bullet through the cockpit, and
it's all coming through.
And that's coinciding with fantastic land-based battle, because now these coppers are joining in with Steeler and the tank crew to throw down with this robot army. And there's a great bit where they're all getting blasted, and the sheriff dude, he's leaning out the side of his car door. His hat's been blown off. He's got a double barrel shotgun, and
it's such a good panel.
And his line is, "Them's ain't anarchists. Them's is robots."
I love that panel. Yeah, where he's actually shooting the shotgun.
Yeah. And there's an homage as well to American Gothic by who's American Gothic? But it's the two in the scene. It's the old biddies, the old more comedy action with they're on their porch and they're watching TV, and the whale comes whizzing by, and kind of they're almost oblivious to it. And they're like, oh, we got to get reception. Oh, we can't get reception. We're going to get cable. And this is actually, there's a painting called American Gothic by Grant Wood from the 1930s. And I'll post up an image of the two side by side, and you'll see if you're not aware of it now, you'll see. But that's another cool bit there.
From a medical point of view, when Roadblock is being used to anchor that gun.
Yes.
Can you imagine what that would do to a man?
Yeah. Well, not right. I mean, again, I think if Roadblock is not fast becoming one of your top Joes, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, he's a big lad, isn't he?
Yeah, it's amazing. And then even in the next issue, he does stuff which we'll talk about, which again just propels him, up the rankings to fast. But I mean, actually thinking about it, we're probably due soon a G.I. Joe awards show where we rank our favourite characters of the year and covers and stuff, so I'll be surprised
when we get to the end of 84.
Well, I think we'll rediscuss whether we do calendar year in Joe or whether we do 3
calendar year in Joe. I reckon.
You reckon?
I think so.
All right. I think we'd originally said we'll do it every 3 months of our real time.
Oh, okay.
But I'm happy to revise that.
Well, then
we don't want to forget stuff.
Then we can say what the best year was.
Yeah, I like that. Let's do that then. Right, so we'll get back on track now. Baroness has landed in Springfield. There's a real cool panel. She's got out of the Rattler, and some Cobra lackey engineer guy has said, "You want some air in these tyres, Baroness?" And she's gone, "Yes." And check the timing on the Gatling gun. Amazing.
Yeah, really.
She gets into a Cobra taxi, goes underground, some car wash thing, and then, like you said, she's gone to the dungeon, to the prison. And who's she seeing here? Major Blood, because he got locked up in the slammer, and his line is, "Who do you want me to kill?" So she's obviously got some sort of ulterior motive. She's going to bust Major Blood out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about... so Cobra Commander flies off, doesn't he, and leaves Firefly. He's a bit pissed.
Well, this is the second time he's done it, because in issue 24, he left Storm Shadow.
Yeah.
When Storm Shadow was trying to rescue him.
He's having a good old sort of, in the last page, Firefly's having a real good old chat with himself.
Yeah, he's got beef with Cobra
Commander.
And
then just bumps into Destro.
Yeah, and there's a cool bit, there's a really cool bit when they're having that, Destro's and Wild Weasel are attacking the Joes. There's a real cool page where he's got heat seekers armed, and the boys in the tank have bailed out, and they're by a river, and they are literally got buckets, and they're chucking buckets of water over the engine to try and to take down the heat of it. And then you see Destro and his heat blip just suddenly gets, disappears off his radar.
Such a simple little thing, but what a great detail that is.
And it's an overhead shot as well of the tank. Just works really well. I mean, Marie Severin,
every now and again
great.
you get that kind of intense realism just to re-ground you. It's like, yeah, really cool. Love that.
Yeah, and like you say, at the end of the issue, you see all the Joes. They're beat on the whale. They're all beaten up and wounded, or whatever. And then, like you say, Firefly's got beef with Commander, bumps into Destro, and then the last panel is Zartan and his Dreadnoks on the bikes, and Torch, I think it says, "Where are we heading?" And Zartan's, "North. That's where the Joes come from, and we're going to find them."
Yeah.
And that is the end of that issue.
How many Yo-Jo Colas you throwing at this bad boy?
Well, no, I'm saying this is part of a 2 or 3 part storyline.
Oh, you like to do it like that? We're gonna.
So I'm
chuck
saying
them at all 3.
Well, the next episode, the next issue at least carries on from this. So whether or not you want to do 28 and 29 as a 2-part storyline, and then 30 as a separate one, or do you feel 30 could be tagged on as well?
The only thing with doing without, I mean, I quite like the idea of just rating each issue. It's just because sometimes in an arc, one of them I might not like as much, and then it sort of brings down the whole thing. That might not be a true representation of what I thought about the issues. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's okay. We'll do it. I mean, I guess that's how we have been doing it.
Let's do 28 and 29, and then we'll do 30.
Happy with that.
We'll do a 30 as a separate.
Okay. Right, moving on.
Moving on to issue 29.
Another super contemporary cover, like one of those ones we've had recently.
Yep. So this is on the cover here. We've got Destro's kind of in the foreground. You don't know what he's on, what vehicle he's on at this moment in time. But he's shooting at the Joes. Big kind of explosion. The Joes are kind of monotone colours. They're all in red in the background there.
Roadblock.
This is Michael Golden on cover duties. We've got Frank Springer back on art here on pencils, interior pencils. Andy Mazinski's inks, Rick Parker's letters, and George Roussos is on colours. And I know initially when Frank Springer came on in issue 25, you said you took a bit while to get used to his art. It was maybe a little bit bendy, a bit cartoony. But I think here, especially with the inks, it's perhaps not quite as cartoony as it was originally in his run.
I think I'm in the pipe now. I'm in the zone. I had absolutely no issue with the art.
So again, I tell you what Harmer's really, really good at, and the artist as well, apart from being an amazing writer, is the first page of every issue. It always seems to generally be a single splash page image, and it really sets the tone. So here,
Yeah.
the last issue was that, the rubber dinghy going towards the USS Jane, and here you've got Beached Whale. It's called Beached Whale, this particular episode, and the whale's pulled into some local harbour. It's actually a place called Erlinger's Cove in the Gulf Coast of Florida, and this kind of reminded me of Jaws.
Yes,
that
it's a bit
scene
like that.
on Amity Island where it's all very much a kind of localised community dock harbour place with loads of fishing boats and stuff, and they've pulled in here, and they're immediately getting jip off the townspeople.
Yeah, totally.
They call them soldier boys. You've been in some sort of firefight, and Roadblock again shows his metal. He rips off a massive piece of the hull of this or the side of the whale and just drags it along, and he's got 3 clowns just sort of hanging on the side of it, and he's just dragging them along. He don't care.
Yeah, I really like this issue. I think for the first time you actually understand a lot more about Cobra and what their motives are, and also how they kind of make their money and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a big scene with Cobra Commander, and lots of exposition, and he sort of explains what Cobra do, and then he also introduces Crimson Guard,
the CGs.
Yeah, which is so different. I did not know that was what they did. That they're sort of integrated into society, and he basically wants them to sort of get into the political system and.
I mean, he gives a whole, like you say, he gives a whole spiel. And he's, in one panel, he's talking about our household cleaning product pyramid.
I love it.
A household cleaning product pyramid scheme grows exponentially. It is money-making juggernaut. It is based on man's willingness to exploit his neighbour. And then,
his media department has succeeded in selling 10 more mindless sitcoms to the networks to further lower the intelligence of America.
Yeah. The next bit is armies of Cobra accountants advise millions of Americans to cheat on their taxes, denying funds to the government and prompting cuts in defensive spending. So, they're not a small-time operation, Cobra. They're going balls deep underground, covert, undercover, infiltrated into society, like you said. And then, again, like you mentioned, he unveils, the latest, not scheme, but a ploy, if you will, that the Crimson Guard. And, you see him, a car pulls up and it's got his family, it's got a wife and kids. He's a loving husband, a fair and compassionate father. The last person to be suspected of being a deep cover Cobra agent. Like you say, it's exposition, and done badly, exposition can just feel a little bit heavy-handed. But this is done absolutely perfectly. It's stuff we need to know, and he's Cobra Commander speaking to the masses of Cobra troops in front of him because he's at a rally. He's at a Cobra rally. There's people have turned out. There's banners being waved. There's marching bands. It's a big show, isn't it? And he's putting on that show, and it.
Meanwhile, you've got the sort of the W.H.A.L.E repairs going on. I love the way that Roadblock's using puncher repair kits.
He bought 50 bicycle puncher repair kits from the local tackle shop. One
puncher repair kit can do 3 bullet holes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but though they don't realise that they got Destro and Firefly sneaking up on them.
They've snuck out of the swamp, and they're just looking for some way back to Springfield. And lo and behold, they've spotted this whale. And so Destro, he sneaks up. And you get another scene. Remember that scene where Hawk was on the back of a HISS tank and he was going I think it was issue 16. He was going toe to toe with Destro and he's punching him, and he mentions polished beryllium steel.
Yeah.
Same thing again. Cutter tries punching Destro in the face, and Destro gives him a polished beryllium steel has no nerve endings, unlike the flesh that covers your face. Literally, just lays.
I love
lays
that. Who hops on the gun? Does Firefly hop on the gun? At close range, on the W.H.A.L.E gun.
Firefly hops on the gun, even though, the cover would suggest it was Destro. But, so then they just have a throwdown, and then they escape, and then there's a great panel as they're escaping on the W.H.A.L E, Destro and Firefly, where he just ragdolls Cutter. You can see him throwing him off the W.H.A.L E as if he's, just a sack of potatoes.
Yeah. And go on.
No, I was just going to say, meanwhile... I was thinking how they're going to get him, but then Wild Bill has come in, hasn't he? He's come in to give supplies to the W.H.A.L E crew from the USS Jane, dumps the supplies. Duke hops into the Dragonfly with Wild Bill, and then Cutter and Roadblock. So where's Deep Six at this point? Is he on I think they've loaded him onto the skids of the Dragonfly to take him back to the Jane, and Cutter and Roadblock have just found a local fishing boat. And then up pops our old comedy duo of the local sheriff.
They're back.
They've made it to the highway. They're trying to wave down a vehicle they see coming, but the vehicle coming is the hijacked whale, and Destro and Firefly just run him off the road.
Yeah, I love it. A little skirmish here, a little chase, but what I really like is when they get the whale back and they Roadblock and Tripwire, they go in there and it's been flooded. They flooded it, Destro and Firefly, and then Firefly's rigged it with explosives.
Yes.
And Tripwire just grabs it and he's like, oh, there's only 7 seconds left. Yeah. And he's like, all right, take cover, fire in the hole. He's about to just blow himself up.
He's going to fall on his sword, basically.
But Roadblock just so casually
kicks him off.
Kicks it. He's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's great.
Finds a air duct, throws this detonator up through the air duct, and it explodes on the top of the USS Jane. And then he absolutely chews out Tripwire, saying, taxpayers' money has paid Uncle Sam's money has paid for your training, boy. Don't you be doing no heroics.
Yeah, he says Uncle Sam paid megabucks to train you.
Now, what's happening there is there might be some people, hopefully you're reading along. If you're not reading along and you just like listening to the story, the whale has escaped with Destro and Firefly on. Cutter's got back onto the USS Jane, and there's an amazing bit where there's no way they're going to be able to catch the whale if it hits the Gulf Coast, because they're just going to lose them. And they've got to cross this peninsula, and there's a bit which is straight out of Batman 1966, Adam West, where the USS Jane, which is a massive ship, suddenly...
is this the hydrofoil?
He presses a button and suddenly he says, extend hydrofoils and engage gas turbines. It's like,
yeah, that was a shock.
It's like something out of when Batman's starting up the Batmobile. And then these two big hydrofoils bust out from the hull of the ship, and it extends it above the water, and it crosses this peninsula. And the two coppers, they're there again to get absolutely roasted.
Yeah.
And then as they're Destro shoots the Dragonfly with his wrist rockets, and there's a real cool bit where, page where the Dragonfly's smoking, it's on fire, needs to get back onto the deck of the USS Jane, and he's just steering straight at the ship. And Duke's like, Wild Bill's like, don't you think I can do it, boy? Or something like that. And he manages to land on the deck of the USS Jane. Suddenly some depth charges. Real cool scene there where the whale launches 2 depth charges, and the USS Jane is like, don't worry, we can avoid those, we'll go in between them. They open up the front of the ship, much like Spy Love Me.
Yes,
where it
very much like that.
It sucks up the ships, and they got the whale. And then that's where, like you mentioned, they go down into the whale to investigate, to capture Firefly and Destro, and they're not there, but instead they find, like you mentioned, a cabin full of C4 explosives.
Yeah,
and this detonator, which is... So I was confused here, because the detonator, like you said, Tripwire says it's got 7 seconds on this detonator, and he throws it out the air duct, Roadblock. That blows up, but why did that then not blow up all the C4 explosives in the ship? In the whale. But having Wolf Ears Mark said and helped me out here, and he said that detonator could also be a blasting cap, and we did some Googling, and blasting caps is a small miniature explosion that goes off that then sets off a chain reaction for all the other explosives. So the timer was probably on this blasting cap detonator, which would have set off all the C4. So, Larry Harmer, you didn't do anything wrong. The script is perfect. The story is perfect.
You went in depth with that one.
Yeah, well, I was confused, and I messaged him and I said, "Look, what do you reckon on this bit?" And he did some research for us. And
well, you might in the next issue you might be even more confused. There's some stuff you cannot rationale.
Right. So at the end,
so it ends with Destro and Firefly.
Because of course they were in those depth charges.
Yeah.
And by this time, he's like, can we find them, Cutter? And he's like, no, all these shrimp fisherman boats are coming back into the harbour. There's no way we can get them now. They're gone. And again, this episode finishes with a nice silhouetted panel of Destro and Firefly in the cabin of a little shrimp fishing boat, and they're going back to Springfield to seek some vengeance on Cobra Commander. I mean, I can understand Firefly wanting vengeance because he got left behind by Cobra Commander, but Destro's got. I think he's always got beef with Cobra Commander. He's never really forgiven him for the Baroness incident and all that, has he?
Yeah, he's got more beef than Firefly.
Yeah,
for sure. It's Yo-Jo-Cola time, Chief.
it is Yo-Jo-Cola time. I'm 9. I absolutely loved it. I mean, that Marie
9.
Severin art from the previous issue, the story, it's just balls out action. The amount of comedy that's so well placed. Oh, it's 9. It has to be.
Yeah, I'm right with you there, Chief.
Yeah?
It's a 9 from me.
Okay, let me just dig up the old every Joe story ever spreadsheet, which I'll post links to this on the Twitter and the Facebook. Can't post links in Insta, but I might
link in the bio.
Link in the bio. Well, link in the bio to the iTunes. You can't put multiple links, but I'll do a screenshot of this for people who want to know. So 9, you currently have 2 9s. You've got at the very top your best story ever was issue 24. The Commander escaped. Then you've got Silent Interlude. Where do you want to slot it around those two?
I am gonna slot it the least.
The least. So it's your third.
Yeah.
Your third best story arc ever.
Yeah.
I'm slotting it as my second best. My best at the moment was issues 25 to 27, Zartan and the Snake Eyes origin. So I'm slotting it just below that, just above Silent Interlude.
Perfect.
Okay. So now we are moving on to issue 30. Let me get the cover up for this one.
Pretty good cover, this actually. Exciting. Dreadnoks.
Good cover.
Chopping a goddamn tail fin
This
off.
echoes, what happens in the issue. Three Dreadnoks are attacking a plane. I'm just looking up I should know who the artist on this. I think it's Mike Zeck. But let me just quickly look that up.
Pencils?
No, the cover. The cover is by. This is terrible research by me. I should have had it. I should know it for a start.
Mate, you need to spend less time researching the
it is. It's Mike Zeck.
Detonators.
It's Mike Zeck. So our interiors, it's the same crew as the previous issue. We're now up to December 1984. Again, this is a common theme. Single page, single panel, splash page, first page. Dreadnoks are outside. There's a big chain link fence, dragonflies over top, and there's a caption which says, Maguire AFB, which I guess is Air Force Base in New Jersey, just a vamp ride away from scenic Fort Wadsworth. So Fort Wadsworth is obviously where the G.I. Joe base is, underneath the pit. Well, the pit is underneath the motor pool at Fort Wadsworth. This is Maguire Air Force Base, and the Dreadnoks and Zartan are outside. They think they've possibly discovered where the G.I. Joe base is because they recognise the chopper. It's got a load of bullet holes, so they're like, "Oh, this is the one that shot us up in the swamp."
Yeah. Okay. So this is the first, in my opinion, just the first ever so slightly dip in kind of form from the insane hot streak that we've been on.
Really?
Not saying that. No, I just didn't absolutely love it like the others. I thought it was really good.
Yes.
I'm just saying it's definitely below, I don't know, the last probably 5 or 6 issues we've read.
Okay.
This thing with Zartan just bugs me a little bit. It's just never really. I know you can't do this because there's going to be a lot of silliness in a G.I. Joe comic, but they've never really explained what the heck he's doing with him being able to just morph into people.
Yeah, so in that second page,
I think I prefer...
there's that panel where he is walking towards the front of the entrance to this base, and you see
he's
him.
not Mystique, is he?
You see him change literally from Zartan into Hawk.
Yeah, but with clothes and everything, it's just a bit too X-Men-y.
So he's got holographic projectors all over himself that can project an image. It's not him. He's not a shapeshifter.
No,
he's just got advanced technology. But I know it's not explained. Would you prefer it if it was explained?
No,
or
I just dislike
the actual technology too outlandish?
No, to be honest with you, it's a trope that I just dislike in any kind of media. Right. The morphing into someone. It's just such an easy. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how much they lean on that. And how much he actually uses that skill.
You've got another issue coming up, which is pretty heavy on this kind of stuff.
Well, it's like, why isn't he just doing that all the time? I mean, it's just.
I like it personally.
Relentless.
I don't have an issue with it.
Chief, you can like it.
Yep.
That's fine.
Yep.
But
I tell you what, I do like on that first page is the absolute idiocy of the Dreadnoks, specifically Ripper, because there's a bit where someone says something, you wouldn't even recognise your grandmother. Zartan says, "Shut up, Ripper, you wouldn't recognise your own mother if she wasn't wearing a name tag." There's a few other people speak, and then Ripper pipes up, "If she had a name tag, I'd know her for sure."
Yeah.
Absolute goons.
Now, I always remember just innately knowing that these guys were goons. I think that was set up from the toys on the data card packs, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
They're just a bunch of apps. They've got low IQs.
I mean, and rereading his issues now has kind of not reinforced my love of the Dreadnoks. It's probably even given me more love for them.
Yeah. Now they're hired guns, aren't they? Like Zartan is a separate faction, and Cobra Commander basically pay these guys because it's interesting. Because some of them have got like Cobra tattoos and stuff.
Correct, on his shoulder.
But they are not innately. They are not employees of Cobra, are they?
I think they're contractors. Yeah.
What do you think about the bit where they're kind of whinging because it doesn't look like home? So he clicks a little switch on his bike and turns it into a shack.
So it looks like the shack from the Everglades. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was like just a way station base, is it, of his? Just a pit stop refueling bit. Yeah. And he uses a holographic projector from his bike to make it, like you say, look like home. And he's gone into the base, hasn't he? Because he's on a recon zone, and he's just like, I think this is where Joe's are. I'll pose as Hawk. There's a nice bit. There's a nice bit there where he's done his projecting. He's done his change into Hawk, and there's some guards there, and they were like, "Did you see this guy glimmering and shining?" And they're like, "If you had as much, gold and brass stars on your lapel, you'd be that as well."
And they're a little bit miffed why he didn't know Wild Bill's name.
Yeah, because Wild Bill's on a stretcher, and he's like, "I want to speak to the old man." Speaking of Hawk, so as Hawk at this point where he says, "I want to speak to the old man," is Hawk now? They're transitioning him, aren't they, into that less field role? Because obviously Duke's come in and more into the,
he's gone upstairs.
He's an operations man now.
Yeah, for sure.
And he says something like, "Well done, Trooper," because Zartan doesn't know Wild Bill's name, and just by calling him Trooper, that's raised a few alarm bells. That he didn't know who he was.
My favourite thing in this issue, Chief, is Fred. Crimson Guard guy.
So Fred is potentially the guy we saw last issue where Cobra Commander was introducing the Crimson Guard. Now
I took it as it was him. Okay. Did you not?
Well, I'm pretty sure, and I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but all Crimson Guardsmen, I believe, have the same face.
Yeah, you're so right. It's that kind of Aryan.
Yeah, they've all had plastic surgery to look the same.
Yeah.
Now he's moved into Staten Island, or Staten Island. Apologies.
Reconnaissance, like
he's moved his family in. Yeah, and that scene is. Oh, sorry, I'll cut you off. Go on, you do your bit.
Well, no, I love it. He spends all this time setting up this telescope he sets up is ginormous.
So here
gets a phone call.
Well, before that, he's unloading guns. This is what's brilliant. It's him, his wife, and his two kids.
They're all in on it.
They probably aren't much older than 7 or 8, and he's like, these movers would have killed over if they found what was really in these boxes. The assault rifles might have startled them.
Do you know what that reminds?
When he's setting up, this is what he's setting up, just for people who don't have the issue in front of them. Passive night sights, parabolic microphones, infrared detectors, refraction scopes, ground wave oscillographs, and an AH/PPS5 non-coherent pulse Doppler radar unit. Amazing. That could be one of the greatest panels in G.I. Joe so far.
Yeah, what I really loved about that was the whole family thing. And I don't think you watched this show, but it reminded me of Ozark, which is what I'm watching at the moment.
I watch, because I don't watch a lot of series. The missus is always telling me, we've got to watch something together. She has a very small palate. She's very fussy about what she likes, and she's not willing to give things a chance. She gives a show 20 minutes, and if it's not got her, that's it, done.
Well, that's actually fair enough.
So we watched episode 1 of Ozark. I might have even watched episode 2, and I thought, this is really good. She was like, nah, don't like it. So I stopped, but I may well go back and actually finish it. Is it worth carrying on?
No, it very much is worth carrying on. But it's just the idea of the whole family being in on what's going on,
especially if it's an illegal activity.
Yeah, exactly. So they're just talking. They're being very outspoken about what they are doing in front of their very young kids, and it just reminded me of that.
Yeah.
And so, but when he gets the phone call to say, we're pulling you out. And he just trashes all the gear.
That's one of my favourite bits as well. Him and his wife are kicking all this stuff over because
I've just realised that she's doing it too.
Yeah, she's in the background smashing stuff. He's doing karate kicks and blowing up because what's happened is they're actually spying on Fort Wadsworth, which is actually where the G.I. Joe base is. And then the twist is Cobra Commander, on the word of Zartan, is now convinced that the G.I. Joe base is at the Maguire Air Force Base. So he's put a call, like you said, into Fred Smith, and said, wait a minute, pack up all your stuff. The G.I. Joe base isn't there, when of course it actually is. It's over at Maguire Air Force Base, and he is pissed off because it looks like it's taken him hours to set up all his stuff.
So then what happens then is, so the Dreadnoks, all they're meant to do, all they've been told to do is literally just cut the wire so Cobra Commander can
get into the Air Force base.
Launch his attack in a slightly more subtle way than he's been doing before. Yep. They get way too excited. They cut through and they just go in there and just wreak havoc.
They are hopped up. They are hopped up on because you also, this is the first reference to grape sodas. They are big into grape sodas and chocolate-covered donuts, and they are hopped up on sugar, and they've gone mental at the Air Force Base.
Yeah, but what I like is they're going in there, but they're not like shooting stuff up. They're cutting, they're sawing stuff,
just for kicks.
Yeah, they're going hog wild, basically in there. And Cobra Commander is basically staging what he wants to be is like this subtle attack, but then one of them, is it Buzzsaw? He's cutting one of the tires from the air striker, isn't he? And it falls and explodes, and then it's just carnage.
Yeah, and it's alerted the tower. And there's an interesting bit here where the people in the tower mentioned that that's where the G.I. Joe vehicles are. So way back in an earlier episode, you asked if G.I. Joe, how covert it was, and whether other people are aware of them. So obviously here, that G.I. Joe are potentially, more public than we think. And actually, when that the start of the last issue where the whale pulls into Erlinger's Cove, I think one of the locals says, "Is this the soldier boys, that new unit we've been hearing about?" So maybe they are a little bit more well known than we think.
I like the panel where you've got Cobra going one way and you've got the Dreadnoks flying the other way. Because they don't want any part of it.
A couple of cool bits actually. When Fred is moving in from way back in the beginning, he's claiming his covert guise is Mr. Brocker, which of course is an anagram of Cobra, and the moving company is ARBCO, which of course is an anagram of Cobra.
Okay, do you know what?
Didn't spot that.
I did not spot those. I must have drifted right over that in a jet lag haze.
And also, it's the way that Cobra Commander's transporting all his vehicles in his tanks is in the
circus.
Is in the ARBCO Brothers Circus vans and moving vehicles. And also, there's a bit where there's some kid, the kid Billy from issue 10. Remember issue 10 where Cobra had gone into Spring. He's a Springfield resident, and they'd kidnapped or killed his dad, I think. And he's seeking revenge. He hasn't been seen for 18 issues, and he's snooping around the files department of the ARBCO circus, and this is where he gets rumbled by Major Blood and Baroness. Yeah, and so they've
just refresh my memory of what happens here with that whole story, that whole sort of arc of Major Blood and Baroness. So don't they agree? Don't they sort of all agree basically at the end just to cool their jets and wait for the perfect time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think nothing along that line is resolved in this issue. That's coming up. There's some absolute killer stuff coming up.
Hot damn!
You're in for a treat. But yeah, we get a massive battle here. Cobra have launched a full-on attack on the Air Force Base. Then suddenly the Joes turn up full bore with all the vehicles.
Yeah.
Basically, just a big throwdown.
Yeah, and then it ends. Where are the Dreadnoks off to?
They just bug out. I think
they just bail.
He said.
Cobra Commander's basically like, I'll deal with these chumps later.
Yeah, and I think they say, should we go back and help? Because they're coming out of the base just as Cobra's coming in. And one of them says, should we go back and give him a hand? And Ripper says, what? And gets swatted across the tarmac? No, thanks, mate. He's like, there's no value in it for them. So they bug out to go back up and hook up with Zartan. Then just a big battle. Cobra Commander's Hiss tank gets leveled, and then under the guise of all the disguise of all the smoke and fire plumes and stuff, one of the Fang copters comes in, scoops him up, and escapes. And that's it. They've kind of.
Ace looks a bit sad at the end.
Yeah, because all his Sky Strikers have been busted up.
He's like, I just about had this one broken in.
Yeah. And then we cut back to, there's a Statue of Liberty, so we can see in the background there's a little sailing boat, and this is kind of a similar last panel to the previous one, where it was Destro and Firefly silhouetted in the cabin of this shrimp boat.
Basically just reminding you that they're still out there.
Yeah. He goes, we start by finding a phone booth and reporting into Cobra Central. And he says, Firefly says, what? Let Cobra Commander know we escaped from Florida? Yes, we must convince him that nothing is wrong. He must believe we are ignorant of his treachery. When his guard is down and he least expects it, we strike! And the banner for the next issue is just called 6 Will Fall.
Oh, it's exciting.
It's exciting. I'm jumping forward a few issues just to read some letters from issue 34 and 33, which correspond to these issues we've just read.
Well, hang on. Let's Yojo Cola this bad boy first.
Let's grape soda it, because it was a Dreadnoks heavy issue. How many grape sodas are you giving this one?
I'm going to give it a high 7, Chief.
Okay.
I know what you're doing.
What am I doing?
8.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Easy.
I
can read you like a book.
So your 7s,
Not a very good book.
I'm guessing you don't have this spreadsheet open in front of you.
No.
You've got 2 7s on the list at the moment, actually, which makes it quite easier. You have got, at number 7 on your rankings of 18 stories, you have got issues 16 to 19, Cobra's Plan Revealed.
Oh, yeah.
And the next one below that is issues 6 and 7, which is To Fail is to Conquer, to Succeed is to Die. It's the October Guard 2-parter.
No, above all of those.
So it's going to slot in 7th place. And I'm giving this an 8. I'm going to pop this one. This is a toughie.
Chief X.
This is a real toughie. We've got that pipeline ploy. That was the one we had at the top for so long. Is it better than that?
No.
You think that
Hell
one?
No.
Introduction?
Hell no. No way.
And then the one below that I've got is Like Chimney Sweepers Come to Dust, which is the issue 22, which is the downtime issue where all the Joes are just chilling.
I do. I love that.
I
tell you what. I understand now, because over the course of this, imagine how many 8s you're going to have. Yeah. So it's not as if you can just. You really do have to put them in order, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You can't just
how good they are. Otherwise, you're in a world of hurt.
Otherwise, you're in a world of hurt. Yeah.
Because you're going to have. Probably going to have about 50 issues with 8, aren't you?
Yes, correct. Which is, again, why I...
I think you can go through and amend that. When you've got about 28s, you can sort of go through and think, okay.
Correct, yeah, because obviously you've got a lot more to compare it against.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll do a revision, maybe at the halfway point. We'll do a speculative redo. I don't think we're going to change much, but anyway, I'm going to pop this one... Can I have a think about it? I've given it an 8, so we know what score it's going to get, and I'll have a think.
Yeah, permission granted.
Thank you very much. So letters page. This is called Postbox The Pit. So here's some letters. Dear Joes, G.I. Joe, issue 30, Darkness, was terrific. The artwork and story were excellent. I especially liked the firefight between Cobra and G.I. Joe, and the way Zartan can use a holographic projection to make himself look like anybody else. It was funny the way Cobra Commando goofed in recalling the Crimson Guards just before the Joes marched past. When was that bit?
I was going to say.
Don't know. To sum it up, it was a super issue. However, I have one criticism. The magazine is becoming too much like a regular war magazine. The Joes go somewhere to perform a mission or to fight Cobra. I'd like to see a little more inside information about the Joes and Cobra, and a little more romance in the Joes ranks. That's from Andrew W. Woodward from New York. And
mate, there's no time for romance.
the response is, Andrew, if you'll stay with us a while longer, you'll have a chance to hear about calling G.I. Joe a regular war magazine. We have a lot of surprises in store for you, perhaps even a big turnabout. And then one here, Dear Joes, G.I. Joe issue 28 was massive. The suspense was great. For a minute I thought Destro was going to die. Firefly is one of my favourite Cobras, and it made me mad when Cobra Commander left Firefly in Florida. It was a good idea to have some of the Joes injured. That was the first time a large number of Joes were injured. By the way, I would like to see more of Mutt and Firefly. And that's from Neil Citteran from Illinois.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of Mutt.
Yeah.
Good comedy value there.
Yeah.
Okay, good letters.
Good letters. There's a lot more there. I might post up some. Right, so next issue we will be doing, next episode will be issues 31, 32 and 33. I'm pretty sure.
I'm going digital.
I'm pretty sure these are 3 standalone issues.
Okay.
You're
cool.
going dig because you've that fourth trade was hard to find. No, the third trade, fourth trade. Sorry, 31. Yeah, fourth trade was too hard to find, so you've gone dig.
I have gone dig. I'm really excited about it as well.
Yep.
So this is going to be, if it goes well, I will be digital in the future.
Yes. Yep.
But we shall see.
So the exciting news we have got for next episode is earlier in the week this week. Unfortunately, you couldn't be there because you were off doing work. I had a interview with Michel Fiffe. Now, Michel Fiffe is a comic book writer, artist, letterer, colorist. He has his own independent book called Copra, which is kind of a mixture between Suicide Squad and G.I. Joe. That's been going for about 6 or 7 years now. He also did some work for Marvel and Image recently. And the exciting news is 6th of February, so in a couple of weeks' time, he has got issue 1 of G.I. Joe Sierra Muerte, which is a 3-issue miniseries being published by IDW, which is coming out. And I had an interview with him, which we covered many topics, obviously including G.I. Joe. We are going to be putting some content from that interview into next week's episode, and we'll probably release the whole thing. It's about an hour long as a separate standalone piece. So that is...
yeah, we absolutely will. That's exciting. I can't wait to listen to that.
Yeah, so that's good stuff. Real good guy, and I'm looking forward to his book, which is coming out in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Well, we've been going for about an hour here. You got any questions for me this week? Or
I have got a question. Chief asks Ben a question. Chief asks Ben a question. What'll he say? What'll he do when Chief asks Ben a question? I'm banging into soup at the moment.
Soup du jour.
I don't know if you're a soup man, but what's your view on, do you like your soups smooth or do you like them chunky?
No, I like them smooth. It's one of those things where I quite like cheap soup, like Heinz.
Yep.
You know, that's just my favorite. Like Heinz tomato soup
Like
is my
69p a can.
favorite. Yeah, but I just don't like all the bits. In soup actually really reminds me of you. Every time you used to come round, you'd be a massive chicken soup guy.
So I used to
and
always...
then Gav would have French onion.
He would have French onion or he'd have tomato.
Which means he would stink the joint out
and he
for
would,
the rest
I remember,
of the day.
I remember this vividly. He'd have French onion and you had tomato a lot. He had tomato sometimes. But he would take cracked black pepper, grinder, and he would grind that black pepper across the whole of the soup so there was no actual soup showing. So
yeah,
he
it
would
was
put
a hard
layer.
floor.
It was a hard
layer.
floor layer of cracked black pepper across the top of his soup. And I would always have generally a chicken or a different soup every week. I'd come round, or every day I'd come round, because sometimes I'd be around 2 or 3 times a week. And mine would always be a big soup or a chunky soup. And you boys would always be, you especially, as smooth as you can. Like sieved soup.
Also, if Gav was having tomato soup, he would cut a massive wedge of cheddar cheese and just plonk it in the middle.
That's it.
And the soup would sort of half melt it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a big soup guy, Chief. There's something so hearty and comforting about soup on a cold day.
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah. God, all the times you used to come around, Chief. Do you remember the time when... like, if you were coming over, it might not always be the case that you were booked in to stay.
No.
But then we'd all be having such a good time.
Yeah.
By the time home time came around, it'd be like, can Chief stay over?
Yeah.
And I don't know where you slept when you stayed over, but there was one occurrence where you were underneath the table in the fetal position, the dining table. You're saying, look, you're like, guys, look, I don't take up much space. I could probably just sleep here. And then Mum was on the phone. He was like, oh, no, he's being silly. No.
What, I got kicked out?
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
I don't know why you couldn't just kip in on the sofa.
Yeah.
Maybe we had other people staying or something.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe Rod was down or something.
Yeah, good memories though.
Yeah. Look, we've been running long. We're over an hour here. I don't know how much you can chop out of this. Hopefully not too much.
Chop suey. I'm jet lagged. I ain't chopping nothing.
You've got to edit this sharpish and get it up because the people have been missing it. They were like, I've had a few people already say, where's the Thursday pod?
Well, man, I've been stateside trying to earn some coin.
Yeah, you've got to earn that cash monies. You can find us on Talking Joe, a G.I. Joe podcast on Facebook. We got Talking Joe Comics at Gmail. We're on Talking Joe Comics on Instagram, and it's Talking_Joe on the Twitters. If you like it, please leave us a review on your podcast player of choice. Give us some 5 stars and all that kind of jazz. What that does is that bumps us up the ratings because some of these podcast searches, we're quite a bit down. So if you're looking for us, you might actually find us. But give us some reviews, give us 5 stars. That'll bump us up the rankings. We might even be able to get some sponsorship in. And the better we do, the better show we can give you guys.
Yeah. What's the Facebook group doing, Chief?
Yeah, but there's
come on,
slow activity there. Slow activity.
It's such a slow burn, that Facebook group, isn't it?
Yeah.
I want it to be a hub of G.I. Joe topics and opinions.
Yeah. Well, we're working on it. We're going to get there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay, guys, thanks for listening. We really do appreciate all the comments and stuff we get. It means a lot to us. We will be back next week, hopefully in the regular Thursday slot, so we will catch you Joes down the line.
See you guys. We're out of here.
Joe.